Hi, this is Jennifer with Northwest Stamper, and today I was going to talk about the envelope punch board. Now, this is the punch board from Stampin' Up, and as the name describes, it's an envelope punch board, so it's meant for making envelopes. Now, I was going to do a bunch of videos about different things you can do that aren't envelopes, but I figured before we do that, let's get started making sure everybody knows how to use this for envelopes. So, this board has dimensions so that you can do up to 66 sizes of envelopes. Now I will tell you, you can do more than 66 sizes. You just have to figure out the dimensions on your own. I've made some that are itty bitty tiny, and they go up to saying the card size is 6 by 8.5, which is a pretty darn big card, but you could make bigger if you particularly wanted to. So get creative, have some different options. But first I was going to show you your standard A2. So your standard card, it's a half sheet of paper. So what you want to do is you take your board, you go over here where it says card size. So if you have a different brand of punch board, I will warn you, it may not have this particular dimension. This is 4 1/4 by 5.5. Some of them don't. The Stampin' Up one does, so if you get the Stampin' Up one, you at least know that you have that. So 4 1/4 by 5.5 is your card size. Then it tells you your paper size. All of the papers start as a square piece of paper. So if you see 8 by 8, that tells you to make an envelope that will fit the 4 1/4 by 5.5, start with an 8 by 8. If for some reason you have a hard time reading one of these numbers, as long as you can read one of them, you know what the other one's going to be. So 8 by 8. And then this tells you your score line is at 3.5, which I'll show what that means in just a minute. So you're going to start by taking a piece of paper. You can do cardstock, but I think the pattern paper is prettier. I mean, look, you have pretty cards, and then bam! Surprise, pretty inside. So, but cardstock works too, also very fun. So I told you that it said 3.5 is your score line. So you're going to come on here. Oh, before you get started, I always forget. Make sure you pull out the stylus that comes with it. You're going to need it to do your scoring, and if you've already started punching and cutting, it's going to get a little bit hard to pull it out and keep everything where it needs to be. So put this in here, line it up. There's the ruler here, so go to 3.5. And what you're going to do is this is a punch, so that's why it's called an envelope punch board. So you punch, and I'll show you what that does in a minute. And then you're going to score. Now, there's a little inside here, I'll show you in a minute, where it's kind of makes a little triangle. So you can line up your score line here, but I think that's a little hard. I start at the score line over here, so I get myself started, and then I work my way in. So that once I know I have that line, then I can go back along and theoretically know that I did it right. Now if you start from out here, you know that you have it. So see, it's much easier to go from the outside in, as you can see by the fact that I keep going off the line. But start here, you know where you're going, and it's good. So I've punched, and you see there's that notch there. So that's going to help give us our clean folds. So then you rotate, and I'll turn this here so you can see a little better. There's a little piece that sticks out, and it tells you score guide. So now I'm not going to worry about measuring again. I don't care about this 3.5 anymore because I have a score line from this notch that I did. So I'm going to set this down, line up my score line, so that point is, if my bone folder went along my score line, it would run straight into that point. So put that there, you notch again, then you do the same thing. And it's a little bit easier if you start from the outside and go in. So do that, and then you just do it on all your sides. You just keep rotating. And often you'll see that you hit 3.5 again, so your first measurement, but not all envelopes do that. Or if you were just a little bit off, it might be a little bit hard to see. So I just recommend going along your score line, so then you at least know that you are in good shape. Okay, and then your last side. Make sure you're lined up. And you'll see here somehow I got just a smidgen off, and that's okay. It's not a big deal. So just slide it over a little. As long as you're not majorly off, you should be fine. So just go along here, and then I have my lines. So now I have an envelope. Don't believe me? check it out. So you're going to fold, and you can use your bone folder if you want. Whoop, make it flat, fold, make it flat, fold, make it flat. Now, with the pattern paper, you do have to be careful. If you push really hard, you can sometimes rip it. So just don't press too aggressively. But then you have an envelope. Now, that's fine and all, but let's make it a little bit prettier. So first off, what I do is I like to put these, if yours looks nicer this way, great. If you, in my case, it was just a little bit strange, so I'm just going to come here, figure out about where these connect up, and I'm just going to follow one of these lines here. And I'm just going to use this little edge, the little bead on here, just to give me that folded line. So I can go along here, grab my snips, and just trim that sucker off. So now when I glue this down, it'll look a lot nicer because it's flat. Then, if you want to make your end, again, just finishing touches here. So we have the punch to make our notches on one side, turn it around or sideways, and there's another punch on this side. When you push, it nicely rounds off your ends. Snazzy, huh? So then you can just grab different pieces of paper and make different envelopes. So I made this guy, and I made this one. So you have infinite possibilities. Just it's all about your paper, your measurements, and a little bit of scoring and punching. I do recommend, just quick sides here. I usually do, you can do tape runner on here, and that'll hold. If you're really worried about it holding up, use the red line sticky strip to hold that down. And if you put it on this flap here, you know it's going to overlap your flaps here, so you don't have to worry about the adhesive showing through or getting in on your card on the inside. Otherwise, for up here, if you're trying to figure out how to seal, there's a couple options. You can glue it down when you're ready to mail off your envelope. There's also recipes online for making your own envelope glue. I've heard you could also find envelope glue out there, but or get creative, do a little sticker, do something cute, and that's fun too. So I hope that was helpful, and I will be back with more projects soon. Thanks so much. Have a great day.